everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bob's Wood Shop. I've been making this little garden bench all week, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's going to fit perfectly out on our patio here. It's made primarily of oak. It's got maple legs, and I put a outdoor deck stain on it. So I'm going to show you how to do it, so let's get started. I've been in the mood to make a garden bench, and a buddy of mine gave me this plan. He had built one. This is from the Wood Magazine, June, July 2004. Looks like Jeff Mertz was the design editor. This is roughly 18 inches tall, 48 inches long, and about 16 inches wide. It's 4 pages, so I'm going to go ahead and start getting out some wood so we can get this thing started today. I've been wanting to make a project like this for a while because I've got a lot of oak, and I wanted to cull my stocks down a little bit. So let's get this started. Here's a really nice piece. This is about 1 1/8 inch. Nice wide piece of oak. Hopefully that'll come in handy. Okay, that should be more than enough. I milled all this down to 3/4 inch thick. I want to start working on the legs also. I don't have oak that's 2 1/4 inches thick, but I do have this piece of maple, and since I'm going to stain this with a deck stain, I don't think it's going to be a problem. This is 2 1/2 inches now, and I'm going to go ahead and mill this down to 2 1/4. Okay, let's clean up one end, square it up. I lucked out on this board. This board is about 38 inches long, and I need 4 pieces that are 18 inches long, so I'm lucking out here. Okay, I'm using the board to dial in my 2 1/4 here. Fire up the vacuum, turn the saw on. So on that first cut I had a little bit of burning, so I went ahead and jointed this edge, and I think there's some tension in this wood. It was a little bit tough to get that through. Let's see how this piece fits. So you might notice my crosscut sled, and if you want to see how I built this prettiest crosscut sled on the internet, I'll leave a link below. All right, so I set up my stop block. I don't have a good length stop block on my chop box, so I'm going to do this on the sled here. And the blade is just making it here. Okay, so the plans only show the left leg, and what you got to do, and I already laid out the measurements, but I like putting this out here. So left rear, left front, right rear, and then I got my lines, making sure that I'm cutting the mortises in the right spots. This is an area where you could easily screw up. Okay, I set up my router, and I've got a router set up like this. This is something I had seen on the internet at some point in time. I don't know whose idea it was. It certainly wasn't mine. But I usually use this fixture when I'm cutting groove handles on the end of a cutting board. But this time I'm going to use using it with a plunge router. And I made a practice mortise here, and that worked. Actually, that was the second one. I didn't quite get it centered on that one. Made an adjustment, and this one is now centered. I'm going to make a series of plunges and then a straight cut to clean it out. Frequent viewers of my channel know I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, that's a 2. 10 more. In case I didn't mention before, I was using a 3/8 inch spiral upcut bit. And there's one of my practice ones. And now I've got all the mortises cut in. And now I can start making the stretchers. Okay, next on deck are the seat rails. These are 13 1/4 by 3 1/2, and there's 4 of these, and they're going to have a little slope in them. The one on the top is for the seat slats, and then the bottom one's going to have a little slope just to have a little bit of decoration. I'm going to mill these up to size and then get back to you when I'm cutting the tenons. Okay, so I got the wood for these 2 pieces and these seat supports. These are all milled up, and what I got to do is cut tenons on these, and also a scoop. I'm going to do the tenons first. So I got this stop block here, and I'm marking out for 3/4 of an inch, and I got to do that on all 6 pieces. Okay, this tenon strategy, I'm going to cut a shoulder cut on all these at 3/4 of an inch. I've got that raised up to about 5/16, and I made a test cut here and tried that inside the mortise, and it works perfect. So now I've got to cut this shoulder cut on all 6 pieces. Okay, it's time to clear out the shoulder. I got a tenon jig. I've had this about 20 years and I only used it a couple times. There are certainly less expensive, easier ways maybe to do this. You could do this with a dado stack with your miter gauge. You could do it on your router table, but since I've got this, I'm going to go ahead and use it. And that's what I'm looking for, a nice tight fit. And then I just got to clear out this little bit because this is supposed to be a ½ inch. So I'm going to do that next. Okay, last step of the process is clean up any little bit of inconsistency. And you do that with a chisel. Do a little paring. This white oak is hard. And then you got to round these edges. You can do that with a chisel and knock this down like this. I find it easier just to use my old Shinto rasp. Just so this fits okay inside the joint. You might have to do a little bit of cleanup with your shoulder plane, but this is exactly what this tool is for. And then you get yourself a nice tight joint. Okay, here's the first dry fit. It's coming along pretty good. I got to make some curves. This is going to be for the seat part here. And then down here there's another crescent. I'm going to do that next. Okay, so this is the bottom stretcher, and I'm just going to nibble away a dado in here. So I set up stop blocks on both sides of this, and I'm just going to cut away that side and then this side. The plan calls for it to be a 1/4 inch. I'm going to make it 3/8 of an inch deep. I'm not going to mess with the dado stack on this. There's only 2 joints. Okay, I got these 2 stop blocks and I'm just going to nibble this out. It's not worth doing the dado stack. Perfect fit. Okay, I need a small curve on the bottom of the side rail, and the plans call for it to be 3/4 of an inch tall. And I'm going to get my wife to help me because this is a 3-hand operation. So I'm just going to use a piece of plexiglass in order for the curve. And once I get this down, I'm just going to use this as a template for the other 3 pieces.
But it's not on.
Go. And I'm just going to cut that out on the bandsaw. Just going to clean that up on the oscillating sander and then use this as a template for the other 4. Okay, here's a little dry fit. The joints seem nice and tight. And I went ahead and made that center stretcher. I'm liking this. So yesterday I spent 2.5 hours making the legs. And today I spent another 3 hours making those stretchers and the side stretchers and that front stretcher right there. So I got to go to work. Tomorrow I'm going to pick up where I left off. See you later. Okay, the next parts I got to make are these front and back rails. They have a dado in them, and they have tenons on each side. So I gotta do 4 tenons and 4 dados. Okay, so I need to route these 4 dados. I'm just gonna gang these up. And I've got this set up here. I really don't feel like putting the dado stack on the saw stop for this. So I'm just gonna do it this way. So those dados are actually 1 inch wide for the stretchers, so I did take another 1/4 inch pass on there. That sharper bit was much better. Okay, so I'm going to make this tenon on the router table, and I experimented with a couple setups, and I got that just sliding in there perfectly. So that's my test piece, and my other test piece. So now it's time to route this. Okay, now we got to do the ends. Hold this up like this. Okay, the plans call for a gentle curve on these front and back rails. And I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to get that curve? I tried one ruler, but it wasn't long enough, so then I taped 2 together, but I was going to get a little bit of a step on this. So I went ahead and cut a 3/8 inch piece of oak from the scrap, and that'll give me what I need. And then from there, I'll just take that over the bandsaw and cut that, and I'll be in good shape. Okay, so now all we really got to do is cut that nice gentle long curve. And I'll just clean that up on the oscillating drum sander. Okay, they were freehand cuts, so I'm just going to clean this up a little bit with the, I got some 40 grit sandpaper on here. Okay, it's time to start cleaning up the edges. I've got to make a little bevel cut on the top of each of the legs. And I'm going to have to sand it, and I'm going to ease all these edges. All that's going to be done on the router table. Okay, like Allison says, this is my favorite part, sanding. I'm going to pre-sand all these pieces, and then I'm going to glue up the legs tonight, and then I can put the new rails on. Then I glue this part up tomorrow. Okay, so this is day 3. I'm working a few hours each day. I've got all these parts sanded. I spent another 3 hours today making these longer stretchers and easing the edges and putting bevels on the tops, and I'm going to be getting ready to do the dry fit and then glue up the leg assembly, these parts, so tomorrow I can put these parts together. Okay, it's Thursday, it's day 4. I started this on Monday. I got the legs glued up, and now I'm doing the dry fit for these long stretchers. Okay, I got the glue up done, and now I'm going to put these seat supports in here. Now it's time to cut the 2-inch seat slats, and we need 7 of them. Okay, the next step of the process is I've cut these in to length, ganged up, and I did that on the chop box. Now I've got to round over all the top edges. Okay, just got back from the big box store. I'm going to stain this with a semi-transparent, and I got it tinted to a light gray. And I'm going to use these type of screws, deck screws, instead of stainless steel, which actually is about the same price, but I wanted to get a closer color match. The instructions say to go ahead and pre-stain all this before you screw these seat boards down. And I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and do that, and probably just paint the whole infrastructure and do all the deck seats while they're still loose. Otherwise it would be difficult to get in between these cracks. So I'm going to do that off camera. Like I said, I think it's probably easier to sand all these ahead of time. And the plan is going to be to go ahead and stain all these ahead of time. Matter of fact, I think we're going to stain the entire project and then screw it together. As an added measure of security, I pinned these mortise and tenons just in case there's some expansion contraction, which I expect there will be. So I rarely use screws in my project, but I have this kit from Stone Mountain, not sponsored. I'm going to try this out. There's 32 screws in this project, so I'm going to give this a whirl. I did it on a couple test pieces, and it seems to work pretty good. It does the drilling and the countersinking for the flat head screws. Okay, let's try this type of drill bit. These have the star heads on them. I think that's going to work just fine. 30 more screws. Like I said before, the instructions say just paint these or stain these parts here. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and paint the whole thing. I think it's going to be a lot easier to put this Valspar on without the slats. I'm going to stain the slats separately also, and then I'm going to go ahead and drill them. Our deck is gray, so I'm just going to stain this a gray color. And I have to put extra down here, plus I got some little lifters for later on that'll keep the bottom of this off the ground. So it's occurring to me as I'm painting this, with this one coat exterior stain and sealer, that painting a piece of hardwood furniture, that this is made out of mainly oak, the legs, and this piece here is maple. But this is the first time I've ever painted or stained a piece of furniture. But this is a piece of outdoor furniture, and that's why I'm doing it. But I hope I didn't lose any people when I put either screws or putting a top coat like this on top of a nice piece of furniture like this. So hang in there with me a little longer. This is it's going to be done in a little while, probably the next day or so. Okay, I'm going to let this dry for a while, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this all together. Came up pretty nice. Okay, so it's Saturday. I went fishing yesterday on Friday, and I'm down to the home stretch here. So I wanted to get equal spacing, so I cut these 6 different strips that are all 3/8 of an inch, and I'm going to screw the one dead center, and I work my way up from there, and that should give me equal spacing all through. The paint job came out really nice, and now I'm just going to go ahead and put the screws in here, and I'll be done with the project, other than putting little feet on it. Okay, almost done. I think I'm going to throw a little bit of paint in here. There's a little bit of light spot here. It's coming along really well. Almost complete. Hey, it's a bench. It works. Oh, good. Works right-handed too. Okay, almost done. Like I said in the previous clip, I'm going to put a little bit of paint on top of those screw heads to clear up any of that, the wood that was left from the countersinking. I'm going to paint or stain some of these spots that are a little bit faint. I'm going to put a real heavy coat here because this is where it's going to be like a sponge and absorb moisture if it's sitting directly on the ground. But I'm also going to put these chair glides on to keep it off the surface of the ground. This is going to be on our deck, maybe on our patio. I'm not really sure yet, but I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll show you the finished product. Here's the chair glides I was talking about. Okay, that's a wrap. Total construction time on this was around 17 or 18 hours. I think it came out very well. Here's a couple final shots where we're experimenting where to place it on the patio. This is a great project. It's a lot of fun to build, relatively easy. I would say this is about a 9th or 10th grade project, and maybe it'll inspire you to make one of your own. So you know the drill. If you like my content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you on another episode of Bob's Woodshop. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.